Hi guys! So today's video is just going to be about a story that happened while I was inpatient last time when I was admitted to the medical unit. It was a really bad experience with one of the techs that was sitting with me at dinner time. Ed was being very rude and intrusive that night, and that's the nice way to put it. And so I refused to eat my meal, and the woman pretty much told me that I wasn't trying and that I had no excuse to not eat because people had it worse than me and people in Africa were starving. And one thing led to another, and we started talking about weight, and I told her that I wasn't underweight anymore, and she just kind of looked at me and went, "Why are you here then?" As if the only way that your eating disorder is valid is if you are underweight. Which is not at all true. And it's frustrating because she works on a unit that helps people with eating disorders, but she doesn't know a thing about eating disorders. I mean, I would think that they have to be trained in this kind of thing, and they have to be in a certain mindset, they have to have certain views on this thing to be able to practice and preach it. Not just having people sit in front of you pretty much telling you that you're an awful person and that you are you're unappreciative. And this woman knew nothing about my life. She knew nothing about my story, but she had the audacity to tell me all of these things about me that I have already thought about myself. Like, I didn't need them thrown out in the air already. I had already been thinking them. But just to hear them out loud by another person besides me made me just that much. It was just really bad. So, by then I had started to cry, and I told her I was done. So I got up to leave the table, and she was like, "You need to get rid of your plate now." And I went, "No." So I tried to leave the room, and she ran up and grabbed me and started, like, shaking me. And so I knocked her backwards, and I told her not to touch me. And then she went, "Then go get your plate." So I went over and I slammed it so hard that the milk went splattering all over the place, which she got really angry at. But then I got into the hallway and everyone was staring because I was very loud and I was yelling and she was yelling, and I ended up reporting her. I just don't understand, like, why you'd want to be a nurse if you want to sit with people with eating disorders, if you don't know a thing about eating disorders. I'm sorry, it's just really frustrating. Like, I think about this a lot. Because, I mean, I've heard a lot of bullshit since my eating disorder started. I've heard a lot of things said to me, but that was just... It was completely unnecessary. If she didn't think she could handle me at dinner, she should have gotten another staff. If she knew she wasn't properly trained to deal with a person with an eating disorder, do not sit with them at dinner, or lunch, or breakfast, or snack. It's unnecessary and it's just cruel to the patients there. I'm sorry guys, this just really pisses me off. But I just like to point out that not all nurses and techs are like that. There were some wonderful people that I met while I was inpatient. This was just one person out of one person out of the majority. And it's sad because I'm gonna remember that. but I'm not going to remember in 10 years the woman that wrote on my inshore every morning, like a little note. She would write like a little note that just looked positive thoughts. And I don't think I'll remember that in 10 years, but I'm going to remember the fact that a person told me my eating disorder was not valid because I was no longer underweight. And that I had no right to be in a hospital because I obviously wasn't sick, because my weight was healthy. That is not how eating disorders work. You can have an eating disorder at any given weight. And let me tell you, it's completely valid. You do not need an NG tube to know that your eating disorder is valid. You can eat every meal. You can even eat snack. You can eat everything you're given and still have an eating disorder. Because an eating disorder is not always physical. It's in the mind. It plays tricks on you. Just because you eat doesn't mean you like it. It doesn't mean that you, like... I'm sorry, it's just really frustrating. Like, the stigma around eating disorders is just really frustrating. And a lot of times it's also referred to as the perfect girl syndrome, and it's often looked at as though it's the privileged girls who have money and style, and they get good grades in school, and they're beautiful, and they're already skinny enough that they don't need to lose weight. But that's not what an eating disorder is. It affects men and women. It ruins your life. It's not just waking up one day and just going, oh, I need to lose a pound. It just doesn't go away. It stays with you forever. I'd keep going, but I'm getting really warm and frustrated right now, so I'm gonna go. I hope you guys have a beautiful night. I love you all. And I'll talk to you guys soon.